click the record button. We're here. It is 2:48. We've got till 2:48. We've gone forward in time. It's 1:48. We're on to 2:30. Kate, that was you I just heard, wasn't it? Right, there you go. I can see you now. Guys, we're into Q&A, right? So now is your chance to ask questions of our apprentices. And Kate or me, doesn't matter who. No question is a silly question. It can be anything around BT's apprenticeship, the recruitment process, the interview process, assessment centers or interview processes in general. We've got experience and we've got knowledge. Think of the questions that you've got. Before we get started on the questions, I mean, I think I did it in my room that we got the apprentices to introduce themselves, but those that we have got here now, I'm just going to promote Amrita as well. Do you guys want to start by giving a little brief introduction about yourselves? And can we start alphabetically with, I believe Alicia is first. So Alicia.
Yeah, so I'm actually an electronics engineer. I'm in my third year of my apprenticeship and I'm still currently doing it now. The apprenticeship with me entails me working on the core network, building and maintaining the core network. And then we also work on legacy stuff, which is quite old, like your old phone lines, copper work, stuff like that. But we've moved on more to fibre and 5G now. So that's really where I'm at. I started as doing work experience. That's how I got inside the business, and I was unsure whether to go to university or to go straight into an apprenticeship. And I do agree, like, it was the best choice for me, but like everybody's different. And yeah, if you want any more questions, you know, about the pay, what my day-to-day life is, with my apprenticeship, I like drive a van. I go to different places every day. I don't really know where I'm going, so that's the good thing of me. It's quite mixed, but there is different apprenticeships where you're a bit more stable and you know exactly what you're doing day-to-day life. Sorry. So yeah, just if anyone wants to ask anything.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thanks, Alicia. Remember, like I said, no question is a silly question. We'll get to those in a second. Amrita, you're next. Give us a little quick intro about yourself.
Hi, my name is Amrita and I'm a network engineer apprentice with BT. My apprenticeship scheme is a level 4 scheme, and I joined in September 2019. And what I do is mostly, it is all remote. I don't do any of the like physical stuff. I do everything on my laptop. So I'm grateful that I can perfectly do my job from home during this pandemic. But yeah.
Fantastic.
I came straight out of A-levels as well, by the way. Just in case. Okay,
so you came straight out of A-levels, straight into your apprenticeship. Okay, that's cool. And I think we got Ben next.
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm Ben. I work in BT Global. I had 2 or 3 years between starting this role and school, where I went and worked and travelled. I lived in Australia for a year. So yeah, if you've got any questions more orientated to sort of the gap year and that sort of stuff, feel free to fire them away as well. So more about my role, I'm 2 years into a 3-year apprenticeship. As you can probably hear, I'm from down south. I live in North London, and I study at Middlesex University, and I study this. It's kind of a niche degree, but it's in business to business sales. In terms of my role, I basically support the sales specialists. So what we do is break down the nuts and bolts of the solutions to the customer and explain the business benefits of the solutions that BT obviously want to, you know, sell and you know, present to our customers. Yeah, no, my sort of I want to stay in BT at the end of my apprenticeship, but I'd like to be an account manager. That pretty much sums me up basically. But yeah, no, you're welcome to ask me more about the sort of day to day and sort of what I deal in as well, because I'm in sales. So yeah, no, look forward to talking with you.
Great info. Thank you. Tom?
Hi everyone, my name is Tom Cully. I'm a networks degree apprentice working at BT. I live probably not that far from Ben, just north of North London is the way I usually describe that, north of Enfield, just outside the M25. I work in Hatfield in our office in Hertfordshire, but operate usually kind of across Hatfield and central London. So effectively, my team is a networks operations team which serves internal customers. So like in our earlier exercises, we were talking about kind of customer relations and how we give the best to our customers. You might find that you are working in a team where your customers are your own employees or other colleagues. My customers, in fact, are people like Alicia. Alicia calls into my team and we work with them remotely. So we're kind of looking at the back end of the equipment that Alicia is working on the front end of, if that makes sense. So yeah, I started in 2018. I'm in my 3rd year. I finish next year, which is petrifying because that's flown by. And yeah, happy to answer any questions you may have.
You said you finish next year, Tom.
Next year, yeah, 2022, September 2022, I think. Yes.
And we put you on the spot as well. From what I've understood, first of all, we can see that from the apprentices that we've got, there's a wide range of things that you can do, and that's the whole point of learning about these things. It's wider than you believe it to be, and it's good to have such a wide variety on. As far as I understand as well, with BT, there is the opportunity. In fact, it's not just the opportunity, it's kind of the norm that you carry on. You get your apprenticeship, you get your degree or whatever qualification it may be attached to your apprenticeship, but you continue to work at BT, right? And are you going to be staying at BT? Is that your plan? Are we allowed to ask that?
$1 million question.
Yeah. If they'll have me is usually my response to that. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully staying on with my team at the moment as it stands, and I'm seeing a few nods from the others, but yeah. And sorry, something else I didn't mention, Max, as well, it's probably quite important, which you know well enough from working with you before, is that I was on the pathway program before I started at BT, so I have experience of being where you guys are, and the only thing I can say is take all the support you're getting. But in regards to staying with BT, yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, they have me, but it's looking that way so far. So good.
If they have you, well, you keep your nose clean and keep doing your job properly, then I'm sure they'll be happy to have you. In fact, all of you.
He's great, Max. He is great.
He is. So I've heard, and I may have interacted him once or twice. So that's the apprentices, but let's not forget Kate. I know that you introduced yourself at the beginning, but Kate, do remind us what you do for BT.
Yeah, sure. So I work in the early careers team at BT, and it's actually my 2nd role with BT. So I've always been in recruitment since leaving university, and I joined BT 3.5 years ago, and my role was then in the professional recruitment team. So my role was recruiting sort of mid-level strategy specialists into BT, and then I've been on the early careers team since about 18 months ago. So this is my 2nd cycle of sort of grads and apprentices. But yeah, I've worked in early careers recruitment for quite a long time. So yeah, that's me really.
Recruiting mid-level strategy specialists sounds terribly boring, Kate.
Do you know what? It was okay actually, because some of the teams were quite exciting. So I was recruiting people into like product strategy, and there was teams in like TV, apps. It was a little bit over my head, to be honest, but yeah, some of the roles were quite interesting, but definitely prefer the early careers market. I always have done, so but it was a good experience.
You've sold the mid-level strategy specialist better than it sounds, but early careers definitely. I mean, my background as well, although I work for Pathway CTM and I do what I said at the beginning, before I joined Pathway CTM, I worked for a different company. I worked for Pret a Manger, and I did recruitment. I ran kitchens for Pret for years, but then I moved into recruitment, and I used to do operations managers, team members. But the last 2 years was early career recruitment. So I recruited you guys, young people after 16, 18 and older, onto our degree apprenticeships. So I've got experience in that background as well. And it is a lot of fun, because meeting young people who are ambitious and ready to take the next step in their life is way more exciting than other types of recruitment. That's my opinion. So, guys, do you have questions? Now, you can type your questions in. I'm going to try and work out if you want to. I think you can be unmuted if you want to. You can raise your hand. But otherwise, what questions do we have? Look, you've got these apprentices in front of you. No question is a silly question. They're opening themselves up. So let's ask them, what do you want to know from them? What do you want to know about apprenticeships? What do you want to know about BT? Right, hang on a second.
Be as nosy as you want.
Aya, you should be able to unmute yourself. I'll ask you to unmute because I can see you raised your hand.
Hello. Oh, yeah, it works.
Go for it.
What is one of the greatest challenges during an apprenticeship?
I think having done most of my apprenticeship in the pandemic has been really difficult, and that's been a challenge in itself, because I mean, I know I said I can do my job perfectly at home, but I'm definitely missing that experience in the office. And it was like 6 months into my apprenticeship, they were like, you have to work from home, so I don't really get much time to get to know my team. And I know we have Zoom and Teams and all of that, but it's just not the same. So I think that's one challenge, like not being able to interact with others. I'm really looking forward to going back into the office when things get normal.
It's an interesting and fair point, actually, because I started my job here with Pathway CTM in the pandemic, so I only met my teammates maybe 3 times in an office. So I kind of feel what you're feeling. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But Zoom and all of that works pretty well so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, does anybody else want to jump in and say anything about that question? If not, we can move on to the next one. So, and again, this is for anyone. Were you stuck between different career choices and deciding what to do with your future? And if so, how did you decide to work with BT? Ben, you took a gap year. So then what led you back towards BT?
I was just answering another question. Sorry, it was someone asked basically where to go regarding work experience. So I've answered that, and BT have a program called Work Ready as well, and that sort of caters for anyone who's looking for sort of experience at BT. Sorry, what was the question? Sorry to be rude, Max.
No, not at all, not at all. So were you stuck between different career choices and deciding what to do with your future? And if so, how did you decide to work with BT? And I picked on you because you said you went and did a gap year. So maybe you took a couple more years out, hence in Bali, I'm guessing. But yeah, so how did you decide to go with BT?
That, people say to you, don't end up like your dad, but my dad actually did 46 years at BT and started in the 70s and retired the other year. So it was never, safe to say, when I was sort of 16 or 15, it was never my intention to end up here. But that said, I sort of left school at 18, and I loved sort of the gap I had. I was working. I've always worked since I was 16 as well. That was another thing we were talking about earlier, people's motivations to do work-based learning, and definitely that's it for me. I mean, I applied for a few other roles, JP Morgan as well. That was the one I had to do the video interview for in Bali, which probably wasn't the best look. I also went for BA. Thank God I didn't take that as well, given the difficulty that the industry's in. But yeah, no, I mean, BT was very competitive on the salary front. I knew from sort of personal experience what the company was like, what the culture was like, because culture is very important with where you work as well. So yeah, I mean, it was a factor of a lot of stuff as well. Yeah. Again, sorry, I've just sort of given you about 3 years worth of history there. Sorry.
No. Well, that's important to hear, because you'll find that there's going to be people in situations like yours trying to work it out. I'm going to put Alicia on the spot. What made you decide BT? Why did you go that way?
Oh, so for me, I was really stuck between what type of engineering I wanted to do, and that was really hard for me. So I went to a lot of like open days. I went to Siemens day, and it was just all different types of engineering roles, and nothing really, like, I did enjoy all of them, but nothing really properly caught my eye. Whereas when I came and did the work experience here, I witnessed that, what the actual on the job was like, and I knew what the day-to-day roles would entail, and I knew what I'd be getting when I started there, because I was very keen to ask like a lot of questions, and doing that really like opened my eye to what I wanted to do and what was important to me. So I did really want to go to university. That was really high up in my scale, but to get at university, I wouldn't have been earning as much as I would have been now, and I did want to start to save for a house already. So I am 21 now, and I basically got the deposit for a house. So if I didn't have BT, I wouldn't have been at that point today where I am now, and that's like one of my major things. I was like, okay, I'm not getting a degree level, but being in BT, I'm doing a level 3. I've just completed it. I'm now doing another level 3 to become a trainer and educational teacher, to do all over, not just in BT, in any other place. Then I want to try and do the power engineering. So there's always goals you can actually reach in BT. You know, once you stop learning and completed your apprenticeship, that's not it. You can keep growing inside of BT. There's things like future leaders, which again is like another project of mine. I've got like lots and lots of projects in the future, and that's what I really enjoy. Like, you know, I'm never going to be stuck in the same position. Whereas university, I would have been in my third year, and I don't think I could have coped with university in COVID. I am quite a hands-on person, and I like to see things to learn. Whereas obviously people learn different ways. So, yeah.
Really, there's some really good points that you brought up there, Alicia, and thank you for sharing that as well. And guys, students, when you listen to Alicia speak, listen to the things that she said as well about the possibilities of going on to learn more and to keep learning and get other qualifications in BT, and that all the apprentices will say the same thing about that, which is a great advantage. But also, I mean, yeah, I was 37 when I managed to get a deposit for my first house, and that was only 3 years ago. So I am a little bit jealous. But also, you got to think about you personally. Every person, we are all individuals, and we are all different, and we all have major differences. And for some people, maybe an apprenticeship isn't the right route, but coming to these sessions is what's going to help you understand that. And you are doing yourself a great service by coming here and asking questions, or even just taking part, because you'll learn whether that's going to be for you. But also similarly, for some people, university isn't the right route, and there's no point going to university just to get a degree because that's the done thing. You're going to put yourself in a difficult situation, and again, you'll learn this better by coming here and asking these questions. So you've done the right thing, and listen to what Alicia said as well, because there's some great advice in there. We have got a question that I think, Kate, this is more one for you. And the question is, do you have a higher chance of getting a job through an apprenticeship or through university? Do you know the answer to that?
It's a difficult one. I mean, I think with an apprenticeship, you get the on-job experience, and that is so valuable. So it very much depends. I think, you know, it does give you that opportunity to, you know, be thrown in, and I think the guys will agree, you're not sort of just, you know, doing tea and coffee duties or anything like that. You are getting that experience from an early start in the role. So I think if you go to university and get your degree and focus on education and don't have that balance of work experience, it can make it quite difficult to get into the workforce. Whereas if you do have, you know, both, then I think it is, it does sort of set you up a little bit better, I think is my opinion. I'm not sure if anyone else has any thoughts on that.
I can tell you that I know statistically that, so when we look at it, you've got to look at 2 levels. So the route into an apprenticeship, so at this guy's stages where if they come out after A levels and then go to apply for an apprenticeship, that is a competitive market because you are applying for the job. And once you start your apprenticeship, you have the job and you are studying as well.
Yeah.
But once you go to university, statistically, the job market is more competitive. Therefore, it's more difficult to get a graduate role than it is to get an apprenticeship role. But at the time that you apply for an apprenticeship, it is easier to get into university because there are more places available at a university than there are through the apprenticeship scheme. But the apprenticeship scheme runs across many different companies, many different sectors, and it depends what you're looking for. So maybe the initial route in is a little bit more competitive onto an apprenticeship, but you've then got to go, okay, getting into university is easy, or it's not easy. There's more possibility potentially. However, once you graduate and you have your degree, you now have to go and get your job, what is called your graduate role. That market is way more competitive than the apprenticeship market. And it's a lot more difficult to get a graduate role than it is to get an apprenticeship role. And like we said, you've got a double whammy because at the end of your degree, you come out and you say, okay, I've got the degree in this field now. And you step forward and you have no years of experience. Yet Alicia or Tom or Ben or Rita could sit in front of me and say, I've got the degree, or I've got the qualifications now, and I've got 3 or 4 years work experience behind me, and I've been doing the job for 4 years. That puts them at a major step forward and an advantage further ahead of you. So that's kind of the answer and the way up. And those are the things that you need to look at. But then, Kate, another question that we've got that I think is best for you to answer is, no, I take it back. I apologize. Tom is going to answer this question. He if you do an A level and BTEC mix at sixth form, it's still possible to get into a BT apprenticeship for equivalent grades.
Yes, the reason I asked to answer that one, Max, is because that's exactly what I did. When I was in sixth form, I was studying an A level in maths, an A level in geography, and a BTEC level 3 equivalent, or whatever the equivalent is, in music. But also following up on that point, yes is the short answer to your question. But what is equally, and in my opinion, and I may be right or wrong, is more important is your soft skills and how you perform in the application process. Because I'm quite open to admitting that I didn't actually end up meeting the requirements of a BT apprenticeship. I actually fell slightly short of the entry requirements because
I didn't
applied. Was that a same? I missed that, Alicia. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't have a driving license, so I didn't meet the requirements. But because of my soft skills, again, like you said, I worked my way through.
Yeah. Exactly. Prime example. Thank you for chipping in, because it's really important that you do. And it speaks for itself. If you really impress the company, if you really put yourself out there and show BT or whatever organisation it is you're applying for how good you are and what you can bring to that organisation, give it your all, really. And what I wouldn't say is give up on your studies. Don't give up on your studies. Really, really do give it your best shot. But sometimes for me, I just realised that maybe I just didn't perform as well in exams, for example, because I got a distinction star in my BTEC, but then I got a D and an E in my A levels. So that shows what kind of learner I am very quickly to you. But because of that, I wasn't stopped from being able to get onto the scheme, because BT took a little bit of time to think. Of course, they've got to make sure they're right at their decision, but they did come back to me, and I was very lucky to be accepted. So definitely something to consider. Work on those soft skills and that work experience if you can.
Fantastic. I mean, what a great answer, and some great examples, especially from both of the apprentices there as well. And it ties back into what I want you guys to think about as well. It ties back into the things that they're asking you to do through your interview process, because they don't just want to see your grades on a piece of paper. That's not the only important thing. They want to see you, those soft skills as a person. What do you bring? How are you? What kind of things do you do? Okay. And that's really, really important. And you'll see this is why the process is set the way it is. Ben, I believe we've got a question that you'd like to answer. And the question is, after going to university, are you still able to get an apprenticeship, or is it too late and not recommended? Take it away, Ben.
I think I'm living proof that you can be as old as you like to do anything, because I actually got the role at 21, and I mean, I firmly believe that everyone has their own journey. Things happen at the right time for you. Getting very spiritual now anyway, but no, I mean, again, there aren't any barriers to sort of applying. As I don't actually know if there is an age limit, but you can get apprentices in their 20s doing schemes. In terms of the order as well, you do sometimes get people going into higher education after an apprenticeship. Maybe it's something that they particularly like, and there's an avenue to maybe do a master's in the subject. So yeah, you're never too old to sort of enroll on these things, and do them in perhaps an unorthodox order. But yeah, and there's definitely benefits to being the oldest as well, I can tell you that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree with Ben there. I had somebody on my team in my college who started with me as an apprentice, and he was actually 38 with 2 kids. And he's still in the business now, doing really extremely well. So as you can see, age is just a number. It's not starting at any point. You can start whenever.
Absolutely. So there's hope for me. Yeah. It is a valid
when you
point.
join in.
Yeah. don't ask my boss. It's on video. With apprenticeships, it is worth remembering. It's like university. You can go to university at any age. You don't have to be 18 to go to university, as in like you have to be 18. No, you can be 20, 30, 40. In my previous job recruiting apprentices, I even recruited apprentices who were 58, 59 years old. They just wanted to do something different in life. And perhaps earlier in their life, they were in a different place where a degree was not obtainable because of where they grew up and their family situation. And an apprenticeship has opened up that opportunity to people later in life who might want to change career. So that is available. Similarly, you see that a lot of companies will use apprenticeships as well to be able to some people will have been to university, joined a company, and then thought, you know what, I'm doing well here and I would like to get a master's in this area, and they can, and you can do that through an apprenticeship as well. There are a lot of possibilities. Now, I'm not saying that's what BT does, but I would guess they probably would. But in terms of, would you go and get a degree and then go and do an apprenticeship? I think you need to understand that going to do a degree apprenticeship means you are getting the degree whilst you work and you study, and it's your time that is split between the two, and it's an 80-20 split. So yeah, so think about that as well. And actually, Amrita, you've put yourself down to answer a couple of questions. This is brilliant. I mean, Kate, I think you could take the afternoon off. Your apprentice is doing everything.
I know, it's great.
Amazing. And I think this is the way it should be, absolutely. And I love the fact that you guys want to answer these questions. So Amrita, for degree apprenticeships, what university will you study at, or does this depend on the apprenticeship role and course? Let's go with that one first.
Yeah, so I think we don't just have degree apprenticeships, we also have like level 3, level 4, and I think it depends on the scheme you're doing, where you're located, and what level it is. So I'm doing level 4 apprenticeship, and it's not a degree, but my college is Firebrand, and that's based in Milton Keynes. I know level 3 apprentices who are doing it with BT's training provider, which is Yarnfield, which is all the way up in Stoke. And I know a few people, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but you go to Ravensbourne, isn't it? Yeah, so we have Ravensbourne, and I think there is another university, but I'm not exactly sure. But I think it does depend on your role in the course, yeah.
Perfect. And also, can we just take a jump back, because Tom did try and come in with an answer, but I did cut him off. But Tom, so regarding the university and the apprenticeship choices, what would you say?
Yeah, sorry, thanks, Max. I think you know, I've got a colleague, for example, she works at the BT Tower. I'm sure she won't mind me talking about her, but I'll keep her name anonymous. She went to university, studied English literature, thought she wanted to become a teacher, started teacher training, and after all of that, she'd spent 4 years and went, you know what, I want a career in technology. Absolutely fine. She started a degree level apprenticeship at BT, and that's where she is now. So from a changing industry point of view, an apprenticeship is definitely a good way to do that if you can't get into that industry with your pre-existing university degree. That's what I would say. The second thing I would say is, if you really are not sure about whether you want to do the apprenticeship or university, something that I did which gave me a little bit more flexibility if you want to just try and get on the ladder as quickly as you can, is I applied for both. I got, in the end, an offer to go to BT on the degree apprenticeship. I also got an offer to study full-time at the University of Kent, and rather than just declining that offer, I deferred it to the following year. What that allowed me to do is effectively hold on to that offer, start at BT, and if there was any slight concern that I didn't want to stay on the degree apprenticeship, or an apprenticeship wasn't for me, technically I could hand in my notice to BT, leave BT, and then start at university the following September without having to reapply. So you can make it work for yourself. What I would say is that it's probably easier to go from an apprenticeship to a degree than the other way, because as soon as you leave university after 1 or 2 years, you've got to start again. Like they're probably, and I don't know, Max, if you've ever heard of people quitting university and then rejoining in the year where they left, but that's not something I've been familiar with. But I think it's probably best I think I would recommend the way that I did it, which was go to the apprenticeship, keep university there in case you need it. Because also, even if you could look at that as just 1 year's work experience and then going to university. So there's lots of different ways you can look at it. But
absolutely, great advice, and it is important to think about those. In terms of that question that you asked, Tom, I don't know the answer, so I'm not going to speculate because I might give the wrong answer. But yeah, and we know many students who have done the same thing, who have applied to both, got both places, deferred the university for a year to see how the apprenticeship goes, and then made a decision a year later. And I can tell you from my experience, most of them decided to continue with the apprenticeship because of what they're learning and what they're going on to do.
I just wanted to quickly add on to what Tom said. So I done the exact same thing. I thought I wanted to go into accounting and finance when I was in A-levels, and I applied to apprenticeships in accounting and finance. I got accounting and finance in an offer at University of Hertfordshire, and I was like, I don't know what to do because I got this apprenticeship in network engineering, and then I had my uni offers, and I was so confused, and I did defer it, so I would have actually gone last year if I wanted to, and I had a small 1 month time in my apprenticeship where I done a bit of like finance kind of like shadowing, and I'm so glad I done that because it made me realize that I do not want to go into that aspect of finance. And I'm so glad I didn't go to uni and do it, because I would have ended up dropping out. And I know like dropping out of university is such a big thing, because then you're stuck with that debt and then you're back to square one. And also one thing that I wish I'd done, that I give this advice to people now, because I have a lot of people messaging me on LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn and like just connect with people and ask them what they do in their job role, how they got into it, if they think that it's a good industry to go into, what they think the benefits are, what qualifications they're getting out of it, and just connect and kind of build that network. I get students right now messaging me like, hey, what's network engineering about? And I'm more than happy to give them information, because I understand it's a big step to get into, like, career wise, and you don't really want to make a mistake. But yeah, been there, done that. I'm so glad I'm not going into finance.
And it's really valuable to think about that too, because these sessions are exactly what the sessions that you should use to ask those questions. And there'll be others that other companies do as well. There'll be others, you guys, UCAS will set you up perfectly for a university open day, and you can go and see the university, check it out, meet the tutors, meet other students, and they'll tell you how fabulous it is. And you can see all of that. And these insight events and these kind of events, virtual work experience events, are what's going to help you understand the culture of a company and whether you're going to enjoy it and whether it's right for you, and get to ask those questions and find out all the different things. So it is valuable to do. But don't also worry about making a choice and it being the wrong choice, because there will always be support around you to be able to then move on to make the right choice, because sometimes you will make the wrong choice, but that's fine. And it's an early career stage. Yes, it is important to get the right choice, but you know what? You don't know until you've tried. And if it turns out it's the wrong one, change, and you can move and you can change. Don't stay stuck. And you'll probably find, like Kate said, she joined BT in one area and then moved on to a different type of recruitment. I joined Pret as a kitchen manager and then went on to do recruitment. I did payroll as well, and I worked in the academy, so I trained lots of people too. You change as you go forward. So don't stress too much about absolutely having the right nailed on choice straight away.
Yeah.
So then, Amrita, we got another question that you wanted to answer. So with apprenticeships, are you able to study and gain experience from other countries? Is it a given opportunity or not?
Right, so I picked this question because I've had stories from within my team. Before I joined, we actually had our team going to places in Europe to actually do the actual physical engineering work. But now we've got like third-party companies who do it for us, or even BT engineers in that country. But also, I work with a lot of team members who are in Argentina, India, America, and yes, I can't go to those countries, but I feel like I'm still connecting with those people and learning about their culture. Like, one of my team members is a really good friend. I have her on social media as well. She lives in Bangalore, and I'm able to see her culture. And because I'm Indian, she's Indian, we kind of like bond through that. And I can hear all these experiences from my colleagues who have gone to, like, I don't know, Hungary and all that to do their engineering work. I don't know if in other parts of the business they still do that. But yeah, it's still nice to have team members who are in different parts of the world. But yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear. I suppose we can put Kate on the spot. Ben, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll be probably, correct me if I'm wrong, are you guys more domestic facing when it comes to operations, or do you support sort of the global operations as well?
Yeah, I'm part of the global team.
All right.
The India team deals with the UK, and the
Right.
UK team deals with global.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, so yeah, obviously so we support, obviously, we've got we've got the largest sort of 800 accounts basically, and they're all a lot of them will be domestically sort of managed by account managers. So subsequently we have, like, teams in the Far East, teams in America. And yeah, no, BT is just a massive business. We've got over 100,000 employees, and about 25% are actually outside of the UK. So yeah, no, again, like you said as well, you're always talking to people from different parts of the world. So yeah, no, it's a good company for that, definitely.
Okay, great. I can see I can see Tom's raised his hand. Tom,
Yeah,
go for it.
I was just going to echo, obviously, Amrita and Ben have spoken about how they've really worked with people across the world in their job roles, but there's also plenty of opportunities to do that, albeit virtually, and I have done virtually from a volunteering point of view. Volunteering is something that's really at the heart of the business, I think. You know, we give all of our people 3 days volunteering leave, which you would have heard earlier from Kate, and part of what I do in my spare time is part of like a voluntary kind of career support. I guess it's kind of career support team. So we're working with just a small select schools at the moment to kind of run workshops on personal branding and all this kind of stuff. A little bit similar to what Pathway provides, I guess, but on a more local level in kind of like a local area of an apprentice, for example. But we've networked with one of our colleagues in Dallas in America, and she has joined the program and she's been part of like making it what it is. And we're even talking about possibly branching the scheme out to an American school as well now. So you know, it's kind of crazy that, you know, we have to schedule the meetings in the right time and stuff, but, you know, working with people both, you know, there's an example of Ben and Amrita working with international colleagues in their day roles, and I've got an example in my volunteering side as well. And hopefully one day I might find an excuse to go to Dallas and visit that school that we're bringing on board. But hey, I'm trying so hard.
I'll put a good word in for you, Tom. Don't you worry. Kate, can we get Tom to Dallas? That would be brilliant. So
if I could get myself to Dallas, then I can help Tom.
We'll make it a joint effort, and I'm coming as well. I think we're all going. All 6 of us, we'll all go. Now, listen, guys,
that's all good.
There's been some fantastic questions, really good questions. And if you have got more questions, put them in the chat box. We're into the last 5 minutes. One of the things that I do want to ask is, Kate, I wanted to give you the opportunity. Actually, let me mention 2 things. Apologies. Let me mention 2 things. Some links have been put into the chat box by the BT guys. Use those links. Do your research and use them to research further. They've been provided by the BT guys, so use them. Kate, about work experience. There was a question earlier about work experience, and somebody, Raquel, said that she can't see any currently available work experience. Is it something the BT does offer? Is it available at the moment? What's the situation with it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure which link it was. Was it the Work Ready link?
Yeah, that was what we sent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are any current opportunities on there. I would definitely just keep checking, because the same with the Apprentice early career site. New opportunities kind of get loaded up all the time. So we went live with apprentices sort of last year in December. Some of the adverts have been taken down, but new ones come up. I'm not exactly sure of the current status regarding work experience, but I would definitely just keep checking that.
With apprenticeship recruitment as well, Kate, what is the window for it at BT?
So actually this year, we had one big launch in December, but we are sort of, you know, it is a case of just launching different roles as and when. So Openreach is always on, basically, so that they're always recruiting, and then we have, you know, different parts of the business who launch roles at different times. So yeah, we'll probably, you know, towards the end of this year, probably sort of maybe November, December, we'll probably go live with quite a lot of roles. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if there's more roles launched in the next few months. So I personally recruit for the global area of the business. There may well be some more roles launched there, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely always good to keep an eye on the BT career site and sign up for, you know, notifications as well.
Also, with what you do, and we talked earlier about, we've got BT, and BT obviously is huge, and that I'm hoping that students are now seeing that there's such a wide variety of things that can happen in a company like BT. But then, do you also do the recruitment for those partners like Openreach, like EE, like PlusNet, or do they each do their own, and you just do BT? What's the score there?
So yeah, so a colleague of mine on the team actually recruits for Openreach. So Openreach is such a vast business, so he does part of their apprenticeship recruitment, and we do graduate recruitment for Openreach. We don't do recruitment for EE within my particular team in early careers. So it's BT and Openreach.
Okay, fantastic. That's good info. Are we allowed to ask you the question, right, roughly how many apprentices do you take on a year?
I don't know the answer to that actually. Quite a lot. It's in the hundreds, but I'm not sure of the exact figure actually. And I think it is one that is growing. So I don't know.
I would imagine it's one that is always
Ballpark, I
growing
think.
because of the increased requirements by government and the increased investment by companies into apprenticeships and apprentices, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's one thing that I think is worth mentioning on this when you are looking at apprenticeships. Some of the things that I've heard before is that apprenticeships aren't as stable as university. That's wrong. Apprenticeships are being invested in. Companies have to and will continue to invest in apprenticeships, whether it be level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. The investment will continue and will only grow, and it is only growing. Hence why at the moment the balance is there's a lot more graduates coming out of university. That's why that market is competitive, and there's less people doing degree apprenticeships. That's why it gives you a big step up and a big advantage. But there is a lot of investment going into it because it is a very good option. It's an extremely good option. So don't be put off by that. And once you join, you get a lot of support. I think you've heard it from all the apprentices we've had today. Support that you are given by the company to succeed is immense because they want you to succeed. They're investing time, money, energy into those people's talents, and they want you to blossom and fulfill your potential. And hopefully then that way you would then give loyalty to them. Like Tom said, if they'll have him, he's staying, you know. I'm sure that's going to be the same with pretty much all of them. I think Tom's criteria is if they'll have me, I'm staying as long as I get to go to Dallas. I wouldn't put that in. I don't think we've got any more questions, and I am conscious of time because we are bang on 2:30. I do need to say thank you to all of our apprentices that have come to give us information. Tom, to Amrita, to Ben, to Alicia, thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your experiences and any information that you have. Is there any final words or anything that any of you would like to say finally before we finish?
Use the power of social media. Just keep connecting with people on LinkedIn. Trust me, it will be your best friend, especially now during the pandemic when you can't actually go and meet people.
Right, I agree. Networking is the key. Once you meet somebody, you know, get the number, get the contact numbers, get them on LinkedIn, and you know, ask them questions. Ask them how do they get there in BT. You can get mentors inside them, you know, to help you get to the place you want to be. And that's what I would always ask. You know, ask people how did they get there. You know, you want to know. Obviously, it's your path. You've got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess just keep doing what you're doing. You know, take first and foremost, let's start where we are now. Take the most of what Pathway are offering. It works, I promise you. Listen to what they're telling you. Take up the opportunities. Use the portal, which I've spoken to Chris the other day. It's growing and growing with fantastic resources. So keep using it. And just, yeah, you know, believe in yourself. You've got to be passionate about what you're applying for. Especially the joy of apprenticeships is you don't need to know everything when you're applying. You literally need to know nothing, frankly. You need to know what the company does, obviously. Not nothing completely. Okay, that was a little bit. Nothing about what the job you're doing, okay? But you need to know about the company. You need to know about, you know, why you want to be there. But ultimately, you don't need to know, for example, in my role, how to open a port on a 7750, how to, you know, help Alicia and all of her colleagues do their work. They haven't thrown me straight in and expected me to be able to do it from day dot. They're here to teach you. You're here to learn. You're here to develop yourself. So come in with the enthusiasm and the passion, and the rest will follow. And just keep applying. Don't think that when you get rejected, because I promise you, you will. I got rejected 7 times, but you get better every single time. Don't think that when you get rejected, it's a bad thing. It might just be that you weren't right for that company. And that's, you know, I couldn't think of anything worse than being accepted to a company which I'm not, you know, suited to, because you just won't enjoy it. But yeah, sorry, I'll shut up now. But yeah.
Rejection is redirection. Just remember that. That's why I always tell myself. I got rejected to more than 7, Tom. Honestly, it was so demotivating. I'd be sitting in the library every day applying to like hundreds of apprenticeships, and I know I was done the JP Morgan one, same as Ben, and that was just terrible. I was so scared of that. That was my first ever assessment centre, and I was just not ready. So when you do go into like interviews and stuff, just be ready, just be yourself. Don't put on an act, because people will be able to tell. Just be yourself.
Fantastic. That's great advice. Absolutely. And Ben, any final words? I mean, like everybody's, under, I guess.
No, I just wanted to say thank you. It's obviously exciting and a breath of fresh air to obviously impart some wisdom to you. I wish you the best of luck. And if you are looking at BT, you're joining a fantastic company. Hopefully I won't be here as long as my old man. But it's a very bright future here at BT. And hopefully you're going to be joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you to the apprentices for everything they've said and everything they've offered you guys. Listen to them. And then Kate, any final words from you?
Just to echo what the guys have said, really, don't be deterred at all if you go through a process and you're not successful. You've really got to keep on going, stay focused, keep that positive attitude, because you do get rejected. When I finished university, I applied for loads of jobs, didn't even hear back, got rejected, but you've just got to keep going with it, really. And it is a learning process. The first assessment centre you do, you'll learn such a lot, and if you're not successful, then you've got all that to build on the next one as well. So just learn as you go, practice, and just the very best of luck to everyone.
Absolutely. Some great advice has been handed out today, some great experience as well. And I want to say thank you to the students for interacting, for getting involved. And we know that this can be difficult. We know it's tough, and especially in this virtual environment, but you've all done great. You've all done really well to get involved, ask questions, contribute, give answers, and listen as well. So give yourselves a pat on the back. This is valuable for you guys. You can reference this, you can put this in your LinkedIn, you can put it on your CV, and when maybe one day you're sitting in front of Kate applying to get on their degree apprenticeship, and you can say, I was on that session that you did in, April in 2021, and these things will help you. They genuinely do help you. Thank you to all the students. Thank you to Kate. Thank you to BT, and thank you to our apprentices as well. I've had a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of it, and well done for coming along during your Easter half term. That's impressive. But thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks very
for
much.
having us. Cheers.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.